The Tao's had this idea of chaos and order. Basically that the world is made up of chaos and order, one or the other. We can describe chaos as those things that are outside of your control. Or we can describe things as order as things that are within your control. So chaos out of your control, order within your control. We can also go a bit deeper with it though and say that chaos is when you do something and the result is not what you expected. And we could also say that order is when you do something and the result is what you did expect. So here's a classic example. You get up in the morning, you go down, you start your car, and the car doesn't start. That's chaos. You get angry and you start, oh, what the hell's going on here? And then you call your boss, say you're going to be late and all this stuff. You just fall into chaos because what you didn't have the result that you expected. Now, on the other hand, if you go down and you start your car and this car starts up, well, business as usual. That's order. That's exactly what you expected was going to happen. So you're not surprised and you go about your day as normal. So it's what you can control and what you can't control, but it's a little deep in also that it corresponds to the result of, in addition, the result based on what you expected. So chaos and order it's simple, but it's also a little bit complex as well. But this sort of resonates well with the idea from Stoicism, because the Stoics basically believe, and one of the things that they preach constantly and consistently is that there are things that we should worry about and things that we shouldn't worry about. Or rather, what they say exactly is that you shouldn't worry about the things that you can't control. And there's literally hundreds of quotes on that. But from Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus and all those good guys. But basically that's what they preach, is that we shouldn't worry about the things that we cannot control, such as chaos, which basically is chaos. But there's an implication there as well, and that is that we should worry about the things that we can control. Okay, so they say don't worry about the things you can't control, but the implication is that if there are things that you can control, that you should worry about them. So we got worry, order, and then you got things that you shouldn't worry about, which is chaos. So it basically resonates well with Stoicism and Taoism. They sort of preach the same things, but in slightly different ways. So it's quite interesting, actually, if you think about it. But I want to be clear, when I say that you should worry about the things that you can control, it's not that you worry unnecessarily. It's not that you have a lot of anxiety about it and you stress about it and it keeps you up at night and you can't sleep. That's not exactly what I mean by that. What I mean is that for you to prepare for something in the future, you initially have to worry about it, right? So, for example, you have to pay rent at the first of every month, or whenever you have to pay rent. That's a worry. I mean, that's you shouldn't be worried about that on a daily basis, but that's because you've prepared. That's because you know that you have work, and then you go to work, you get your paycheck, and then you pay your rent. And so you're not worried about it because you've done what you could. But if you lost your job, you would need a new job because you would start getting worried, oh, how am I going to pay the rent? And so that worry would actually enable you to, or engage you with a desire to prepare and a desire to act. And so it's not that you just worry unnecessarily, but it's that the worry in itself engages you to act. And that action allows you to prepare for the future and to avoid chaos, right? To put more things into order.